In the year 2145, humanity had reached the farthest corners of the solar system. Space travel had become routine, and explorers pushed boundaries beyond the Milky Way. One of the most anticipated missions was the journey to the Forbidden Planet. It was a world hidden within the darkest reaches of the galaxy, known only from ancient star charts and legends. The Forbidden Planet was a place no one dared to visit, shrouded in mystery. But for the crew of the Starship Odyssey, the Forbidden was just another word for a challenge. The Odyssey was a marvel of human engineering, a sleek, advanced vessel designed for deep space travel. Captain Lena Harker, an experienced explorer with countless missions under her belt, led the diverse crew. She was famous for her calm under pressure, but this mission tested even her legendary courage. Alongside her were Melik, a brilliant but enigmatic scientist, Commander Evie Rhodes, a fearless navigator, and Dr. Keller, a specialist in alien biology. They were joined by an android, ALI-7, programmed to handle anything from technical issues to hostile alien encounters. Their mission was simple: gather data and unravel the secrets of the Forbidden Planet. A faint transmission had been intercepted weeks before, an unexplainable signal that seemed to pulse like a heartbeat, coming from a region of space that no known technology could penetrate. The source was the Forbidden Planet. The journey was perilous. Their path was marked by meteors, cosmic storms, and strange gravitational anomalies that threatened to tear the ship apart. Every crew member felt an eerie sense of being watched, as if some unseen force lurked in the dark void beyond the ship's windows. Yet the Odyssey pressed on, each member determined to reach their destination. The closer they got to the Forbidden Planet, the more their technology malfunctioned. Instruments flickered, star maps became unreliable, and the signal they were tracking grew stronger and stranger. Finally, after weeks of travel, the Forbidden Planet came into view, a vast green and blue sphere covered in swirling clouds, much like Earth. But unlike Earth, the sky was a deep, unnatural shade of violet, and flashes of green lightning crackled across the horizon. The planet's orbit was littered with the remains of old ships, some ancient and rusted, others disturbingly recent. As they prepared to descend, an unexpected event occurred. The Odyssey was hit by a blinding white light, and every control panel went dark. The ship's artificial gravity failed, and for a moment, the crew floated in a panicked silence. Then, just as suddenly, everything came back to life. But the planet below had changed. It now seemed more alive, pulsing with an unearthly energy. With no choice but to continue, Captain Harker ordered the descent. The ship's atmosphere sensors went wild, detecting chemical signatures that defied understanding, and faint whispers seemed to echo through the hull. Malik, the scientist, insisted it was electromagnetic interference, but Rhodes was unconvinced. She swore she heard her own name whispered in those echoes. They landed in a dense, overgrown jungle with vegetation that seemed to glow in shades of blue and green. The air was thick with humidity, and strange luminous plants moved as if they were breathing. The crew stepped out, weapons and scanners at the ready, every footstep sinking into soft, moss-covered ground. A strange quiet blanketed the land, disturbed only by the occasional rustle of unseen creatures. Their first task was to locate the source of the signal. According to their calculations, it was coming from deep within a mountain range to the north. As they moved, they found remnants of ancient structures buried under the vegetation, ruins of a lost civilization. Malik grew more excited with each discovery, convinced they were about to find something groundbreaking. He discovered strange, spherical stones covered in intricate symbols, unlike any language known to humanity. Hours turned into days as they navigated the endless jungle. On the second night, they set up camp in the shadow of a giant tree, its trunk as wide as a small city block. The night was eerily silent until the ground began to shake, and the tree moved. It wasn't a tree at all, but a massive, sleeping creature, an ancient guardian of the jungle. It opened eyes that glowed like burning coals. It stared up at the crew, and then vanished into the darkness, leaving behind a crater where it had stood. They were not alone here. Planches grew as the journey continued. Dr. Keller disappeared on the fourth day. The crew found his equipment scattered on the ground, but no trace of him. His communicator buzzed faintly, broadcasting static and what sounded like distant laughter. Harker tried to keep everyone calm, but it was clear they were all on edge. The following night, Malik made a shocking discovery: a colossal structure hidden beneath the mountain. There was a temple or fortress of sorts, covered in the same alien symbols he had seen earlier. The source of the signal was inside, but as they approached the entrance, Rhodes noticed something horrifying. The ruins they had found earlier were not random. They formed a pattern, a giant spiral that spread across the land, with the temple at its center. Entering the temple was like stepping into another world. The walls were covered in carvings that seemed to move when no one was looking, depicting scenes of alien beings and great battles. The air hummed with an energy that made their hair stand on end. Deep within, they found a massive chamber with a device at its center, a machine pulsing with a strange, warm glow. Malik insisted on examining it, his voice trembling with excitement. The device appeared to be a gateway of some kind, a portal to another dimension or time, but before he could get closer, the temple began to shake. The walls cracked and a deafening roar filled the chamber. ALI 7's sensors detected a sudden spike in power. Something was waking up. The machine activated. A blinding light engulfed the room, and the crew was thrown to the ground. When they regained consciousness, they were no longer in the temple. They were standing on a vast plain under an alien sky. The stars unfamiliar. The ground was covered with thousands of those same spherical stones Malik had collected. But now they pulsed with life, forming a path leading to a colossal, shadowy figure in the distance. As they moved closer, they realized the figure was a giant humanoid, seated on a throne made of the same alien material. Its eyes, two burning orbs, locked onto them. A voice filled their minds, not through sound, but through thought. They never called it black. Not Jean. It was ancient, cold, and vast. Speaking of a race that once ruled the stars. A species that had used the planet as a sanctuary and a prison. They had created the gateway to trap something terrible. A force that, if released, could end all life as they knew it. The voice warned them that their presence had awakened the dark force. It was already spreading through their ship, corrupting their technology. The only way to stop it was to destroy the machine and seal the gateway forever. But the cost would be their only chance of returning home. Captain Harker made the hardest decision of her life. She gave the order, and Malik, reluctantly, initiated the overload sequence. As the machine crackled and sparked, they ran back to the chamber's exit, the temple crumbling around them. The jungle was alight with strange creatures fleeing, and the ground split apart. The explosion that followed was unlike anything they had ever seen. A wave of blue energy washed over the land, erasing the ruins and the jungle in a brilliant flash. Then, silence. Back on the Odyssey, they found themselves far from the forbidden planet, drifting in the quiet of deep space. But something had changed. The stars had shifted, and the ship's chronometers were wrong. They had been gone for only a few days, yet decades had passed back on Earth. The crew had survived, but they would never be the same. They had stopped the dark force, but at what cost? The forbidden planet had vanished from the star charts, leaving only a legend behind. A story of a place where time and space did not follow the same rules, where a crew's sacrifice had saved the universe from an ancient evil. As the Odyssey made its slow journey back to a changed Earth, Captain Harker knew that the secrets they had uncovered would never be fully understood. That if forbidden, the planet would remain an enigma, a forbidden mystery that would haunt the dreams of explorers for generations to come.